What's up, everybody? It's Mighty Manotaur, and welcome back to some more E3 post-conference talk. This video we're going to be talking about games. All the big games. Doing a separate video on the smaller, more indie-type games, even though the term indie game doesn't really mean anything anymore. This game will be more focused on AAA, retail releases, big third-party and first-party games. Going to be running through mostly alphabetically, just to make sure I cover everything, and then at the end I'll kind of wrap up with a lot of the games that I'm most interested in, which also might be evident in the way I talk about them in the first place. So, beginning off, Assassin's Creed Unity, shown at the Microsoft conference and the Ubisoft press conference. It looks like more Assassin's Creed to me, which in my Ubisoft predictions video, I kind of was like, I'm not super into Assassin's Creed anymore. And I got a lot of hate for that from people, obviously, that do love Assassin's Creed. We're allowed to have different opinions. Just throwing that out there. But Assassin's Creed Unity, like I loved Assassin's Creed 1, liked Assassin's Creed 2, didn't really care for Brotherhood, was completely burnt out by Revelations and didn't play it at all. Didn't play Assassin's Creed 3. Played Assassin's Creed 4 and really liked it, but got burnt out by the end because it was just kind of the same thing. Like, the boat combat was cool, but got repetitive. The single-player missions, like eavesdrop this guy and follow these people and hide from this thing, are so played out. They've been the same freaking thing in every game. And the combat is like, wait until you can press X to kill. And it's just not fun, honestly, to me. So when they showed off Assassin's Creed Unity, it looks beautiful. But it being set in the French Revolution is a cool backdrop, but takes out the fun pirate parts from Assassin's Creed 4. So it's going to feel more like a traditional Assassin's Creed game, more of a safe game, which is less interesting to me. The co-op stuff with up to 4 players is neat. I'm not super into doing that. I would rather be my own assassin. And all the stuff that they showed of the combat and the missions and everything like that feels like Assassin's Creed. And as of now, I'm not interested in Assassin's Creed Unity. But that's me. Like, if you're interested in it, what about the game is cool to you? Let me know in the comments. Alien Isolation seems like a really cool take on an Aliens game, which there's never been a good Aliens game, arguably. But this one's more like survival horror, which is kind of what you would want in an Aliens game. There is gunplay, but it's limited, and it's kind of like one alien that's chasing you the whole time. It's kind of a cool setup. I'm interested to know more. I've seen the Aliens movies. I'm not like a huge Aliens fan, and so it being an Aliens game isn't enough to make me buy it. I'm going to need to see more specifically of it before I kind of make that decision. Batman Arkham Knight, another big game shown off at the Sony press conference. The story of it sounds awesome, with this new character, the Arkham Knight, and kind of Scarecrow being the big bad. All that story stuff sounds really cool, which were the biggest parts to me of Arkham Asylum and Arkham City. The gameplay seems like more of the same in terms of the big open world and traversal and run around. And the combat is solid, but it doesn't seem like it's doing anything new, honestly. The biggest new addition is the Batmobile, which isn't enough to warrant a new game purchase from me. A new $60 just to have the Batmobile. And like, once you get into the combat situation, it's like you can strafe back and forth, and I don't know, it just seems weird. Obviously, I haven't played the game, can't make any judgments on that side of it. It looks beautiful, so I'm curious to see more. At this point, I'm not on board, but who knows? Maybe once we learn even more about the story, I'll be like, I have to play it just for the story, because that's kind of what it's going to be. The gameplay is not going to shake things up enough to make me interested again, but the story absolutely could. Battlefield Hardline. This leaked early, and then they showed it off at the EA press conference. It's a cool new take on the Battlefield series, not made by DICE, made by Visceral instead, which, when I heard about that, made me more excited, because I was like, oh cool, a really new take on it. And the setup is new. It's a little bit smaller than Battlefield 3 and 4. It's like cops and robbers, like more mission-based multiplayer versus just like kill the most guys or capture flags or whatever. Like, you kind of move through the map to do certain things in order, kind of like how Rush plays out. But the actual gameplay of it looks and feels exactly like Battlefield 4. Like, the HUD looks the same, the controls inside of the vehicles seem the same, like the aiming is the same, graphically it looks basically the same. So that kind of made me a little underwhelmed. It was a solid demo, and I really liked the mission-based multiplayer structure. It's really cool, but I don't know. With all these games coming out, I don't know that there's not enough in Battlefield Hardline to make me jump on board. With that being said, I got into the closed beta. I haven't played it yet, but I will be playing it these next few days, so maybe that'll change my opinion on it. I hope it does, because I really liked Battlefield 3 and 4, and I want to like this one. I want to give Visceral a chance. So good on them for trying something new, but at this point, I'm just, the Cops and Robbers thing, making it a little smaller, isn't really interesting to me overall. From there, Bayonetta 2, they showed at the Wii U conference. Looks like more Bayonetta. I never played the first game, but it's by a lot of the people I think that did Devil May Cry, which were really good games. Kind of cool, like hair-based combo. It's like a hard game. They're bundling Bayonetta 1 in with Bayonetta 2, which is a neat thing if you haven't played the first one. So that one looks super over the top, which is cool. BioWare teased a new IP. Didn't show any gameplay or anything really. You saw a couple of like 15 seconds of some trees and atmosphere, but I'm really curious to see what that is. I'm kind of bummed that they're not working on a new Star Wars game, at least that they've announced, but new IP is always good, so they're a great studio. I'm definitely curious to see more about that game. Sony revealed Bloodborne, which is by From Software, the guys that made Demon's Souls and Dark Souls 1 and 2. It looks a little bit more fast-paced, which is more interesting to me. The trailer was just a CG trailer, didn't show any combat or anything like that, but like I know you have like a shotgun in it, which is cool. You move around quicker. It's still more patient combat than what you typically see in like a third-person hack and slashy kind of game. I'm super interested in it, and the fact that it's a PS4 exclusive is really cool for me as a PS4 owner. So I'm curious to see more of that. Once we see some more gameplay, I'll be able to give more opinions on it. But it was a cool trailer, really cool setup, so I'm excited to learn more about that. Borderlands, the pre-sequel, was making the rounds on the show floor, getting really good feedback. I've watched a bunch of gameplay demos of that. I'm totally on board for more Borderlands, man. When they first announced it, and people were down because they're like, oh, we wanted Borderlands 3 next gen. I get that, and Gearbox has said they're working on Borderlands 3, but to kind of tide us over, this is a cool thing, and it's made by a different studio, 2K Australia, with assistance by Gearbox, obviously, but it's on old-gen consoles, PS3, Xbox, and PC, which is a little bit of a bummer, but it's going to be hilarious, and it's 4 new cool characters with new abilities on, like, the moon. I love the setup of it, and I loved Borderlands 1 and 2, so more of that is awesome to me. A lot of people have been down on it because they're like, oh, it's just like DLC for Borderlands 2. It's like, the game is like the same size as Borderlands 2. It's not just a little add-on. Like, it's a whole new, huge game. With that being said, I will be more excited for Borderlands 3, but I know I'm picking up the pre-sequel. It sounds awesome. Playing as Claptrap sounds like a good time. And then at the Microsoft conference, they showed a Call of Duty Advanced Warfare. Yes, I think it's Advanced Warfare. Not Advanced Warfare, not Advanced Warfighter. No idea. I think it's Advanced Warfare. That was revealed a little bit ago, a couple of weeks ago, the new Call of Duty game by Sledgehammer. It's the first game in the 3-year dev cycle, which is cool. They get 3 years to work on a game now instead of 2, so hopefully it gives them a chance to try new things a little bit more. Some of the creative heads of Sledgehammer worked on the original Dead Space, which is awesome from a story perspective and like an audio music perspective. That'll be really cool to add kind of some more of that element to the Call of Duty series, which is typically just follow this dude, experience explosions, shoot dudes. So that'll hopefully will be something a little bit different. It was a great demo. I'm a lapsed Call of Duty fan. I haven't really been into a Call of Duty since Modern Warfare 2 and a little bit of Modern Warfare 3. So it's not enough to make me go, yes, I'm picking this up for sure. I'll need to see more of the multiplayer before I can make that decision. But at least from a single-player perspective, they're trying some new things with, got like mini jetpack-ish, kind of like Titanfall had. Like their grenades, you can change what grenade type it is on the fly. Like it's cool new future-type stuff that definitely is making me interested with mechs and kind of things like that. Civilization Beyond Earth was shown off. I've played a little bit of the Civ games. I respect them for what they do. It's never been like the RTS kind of strategy-ish world kind of thing has never been my cup of tea, but I can appreciate those games. Making this one in space is a really cool thing, so I'm excited to see more about that. That might be something I'd want to pick up on PC maybe to play around with. Microsoft revealed a new Crackdown game, which, neat. It didn't feel like a good thing to end their press conference with, which is what they did, obviously. I loved Crackdown 1. Crackdown 2 sucked ass, but the new Crackdown thing, I mean, it was just a trailer. You didn't really see any real gameplay in it, but it looked like, I mean, there's co-op in it, which is cool. Every game has co-op nowadays. But more Crackdown is fun. Like, it's just a fun, dumb game. And sometimes that's what you want to play. So, excited for that. The Crew, Ubisoft showed that off. They had a really cool trailer for it. It's a racing game. I'm not really into racing games, but the fact that you can go from like one side of the U.S. to the other side of the U.S. and they have like big mission races that take hours to complete, that's a really cool thing that people haven't really tried to do. More social integration, like making teams of drivers and that kind of thing. Like, I can respect that. Criterion, another racing game developer, they showed off a new IP that they're working on, which was cool that they did. Is very unfinished early stages with like helicopters and planes and cars and jets and boats and ATVs and, you know, squirrel suits and hang gliders and just tons of crazy stuff. If it's like doing stunts and races and all that kind of combination of things, that could be a really fun game. I'm not sure yet how they make a game out of it, and I don't think they know yet because it's really early on, but I'm excited to see more from that. It looks like something that someone that's not really into straight up racing games could be interested in, with because it has more features if they go that route. So that should be cool. What else? Dead Island 2, they talked about, had a reveal trailer for it. It was a really funny trailer. We haven't seen any gameplay, obviously. I liked Dead Island. It was a glitchy mess, though, and I eventually got kind of bored once you got the guns, because the guns weren't good. They didn't feel good to use, but I'm curious to see more. I'm more sold on Dying Light, which, I can talk about Dying Light now since that's on the list too. I'm more curious about that game personally, with the kind of Mirror's Edge-like traversal aspects, and it looks cooler, like the zombies change at night. We don't know enough about Dead Island 2 to pass judgment on it. If it has a good sense of humor, that could be something that would set it apart for me. I'm having a hard time justifying two first-person hack-and-slash zombie games between Dead Island and Dying Light. And knowing more about Dying Light, that's the game that I tend to lean towards. Destiny. Not a new game, obviously, at the show, but one of my most anticipated games, one of my favorite games from the show in general. Everything they showed about it looks awesome. And when they initially revealed it, there was like MMO-ish RPG stuff in the first-person shooter. It was like, there's no way they'll be able to do this. And they mostly have. I've been playing the alpha. It goes into beta in July, I think. I've got into the closed alpha. I've been playing it. It's really awesome. I'm not sure what I'm allowed to talk about specifically about it, so I won't. I'll just say that it's really cool. Comes out in September, and I can't freaking wait. One of my favorite games from the show. Faux show. From there, Dragon Age Inquisition, new BioWare game. I'm sold. Just give me the game. Let me play it. I appreciated Dragon Age Origins. Not my favorite game. It felt too slow to me, the combat. I couldn't really get into it, but the world and the story and the characters I loved. Dragon Age 2 was like on the total opposite of the spectrum, where the world was totally disinteresting. You went to the same places over and over again. It was so boring. The characters were cool, and the story was like, okay. The combat was like really fast-paced and didn't really have a lot of that RPG tactics to it. So Dragon Age Inquisition seems like a really good marriage of those two things. It's a big open-world game. It looks beautiful. The combat looks a little bit more intense, well, a lot bit more intense than Dragon Age 2. So I'm really excited to play that game. I can't wait to get my hands on it. I'm sure that's a game I can sink 100 hours into easily. Evil Within, by the guy that worked on the old-school Resident Evil games. Great, talented developer. Most of what they've shown of that game, it's gotten really bad feedback. That it's like not scary, it's confusing, the story, like what they've shown doesn't make sense, it looks bad, like graphically, it handles awkwardly. Haven't played it, I can't say, but I'm not super into horror games, and so it would need to do something different and stand out to make me want to play it. And just hearing all that negative feedback about the game makes me go like, I think I'm going to pass. which is a shame because people that like the original Resident Evils haven't had that experience. Resident Evil 5 was not that. Resident Evil 6 was definitely not that. So it kind of sucks if this game turns out to not be great. That'll be a big bummer. Evolve they showed, which looks really neat. It's by the guys that made Turtle Rock Studios, the guys that made Left 4 Dead. It's a cool kind of asymmetrical game where 4 people play the hunters going after a monster, and 1 person plays the monster, like a big boss-type enemy. They revealed a new monster at this at E3, which was cool, like a Cthulhu, like octopus-looking kind of guy, squid guy. It looks like a really neat game. I don't know. Just that multiplayer aspect isn't enough to justify a purchase from me. There needs to be something, like, not that there has to be a single player necessarily, but like I felt the same way about Titanfall. I don't own an Xbox, obviously, so I didn't pick up Titanfall, period, but my PC probably wouldn't run it super well. But the fact that there wasn't really like a single player, there was like a story, but it was really taking a backseat to the gameplay. That's just not enough for me to justify $60 when there are so many great games out there doing so many different things. I can appreciate Evolve, and I'm gonna wait and see what the kind of reaction is, and then maybe pick it up if I have some people to play with. Microsoft shelved off Fable Legends, which is not a typical Fable game, which was kind of an RPG light. Fable 1 through 3 were. This is more of a co-op, hack and slashy kind of combat game, where you can play as the heroes, and then 1 person plays as the villain who kind of like sets traps and does the whole thing on a big map, kind of a more strategy-esque gameplay type, which is a cool kind of dichotomy between the two, but it didn't do anything to wow me. Graphically, like, it looked pretty, kind of a fantasy, cartoony style, but that didn't even blow me away, and like the combat seemed pretty bare bones, basic to me, not a ton of depth to it. Far Cry 4. One of the best games at the show, in my opinion. The villain trailer they showed at the Ubisoft conference was awesome. Really messed up, dark trailer. And then the gameplay demo that was at the Sony conference blew me away too. I never got around to playing Far Cry 3. It's on my list. I want to play it. I just haven't had time, and now my PS3 is busted, so I can't play it anyway. But I'm really pumped for Far Cry 4. The story of it sounds really cool. The villain sounds cool. And like the mountains it looks gorgeous. And like they did that demo where guys on like a machine gun going through, and like an elephant is blowing crap up and charging around. Just the way that ambient stuff works seems really awesome. I'm totally sold. I'm totally on board for that game when it comes out in the fall. And then Microsoft had Forza Horizon 2. Pretty racing game. Not much for me to say about that. If you want racing game talk, this isn't the place to go. GTA 5 coming to PS4, and I'm sure Xbox One and PC. Never played GTA, not super into the series personally, but if I'm going to pick it up, it will be the PS4 version because it's going to look great. You can transfer your online progress from PS3 and 360, which is a cool feature for people who did play those. It's just kind of an up-res version of it. Neat, but not groundbreaking. Halo 5, we got like a little bit of a tease for. They didn't show anything substantial, which is a bit of a bummer for me because I really want to like Halo, and I just haven't gotten into the series the way that a lot of people have. The Halo Master Chief Collection, on the other hand, looks amazing. $60 for all 4 games. The first 2 are up-res, like over 100 maps, original multiplayer physics and gameplay and all that kind of stuff. Like, that's a really awesome value. If I had an Xbox One, I'd be super pumped about that. And as someone that never really got into the Halo games but has played all of them, that would be a really cool thing for me to jump in and be able to play them all back to back and hopefully get a better appreciation of it. If I randomly get $400 and I'm able to buy an Xbox, I'll absolutely get the Master Chief Collection. But I'm not holding my breath for that to happen. Homefront 2, I guess, was at the show floor. They didn't have any at the press conferences, I don't think. They showed like a little bit of a gameplay demo. The first game was garbage, in my opinion. It was a cool setup with the maybe not South Koreans, but like Korea in general. Like the story of it, the setup was great. It was so heavy-handed and melodramatic, and like they were trying to be super dark. It played like crap. It looked like crap. The multiplayer was terrible. I hated that first game. So I was like, why are they making a Homefront 2? Crytek is making it in their engine, which is cool. It's more in the future with like, it's got a bunch of gadgets and stuff. I don't know, like the gameplay demo of it that I watched, he hardly even shot a freaking gun. Like, he had a little RC car, and it was like stealth and exploration and moving around, and like, it's not open world, but like there are side missions. It just, I don't know, I feel like it's super early on, obviously, but that game seems to me like it doesn't know what it wants to be yet, what kind of a first-person shooter it wants to be. I'm still on board with the setup of it and the story of it, and this is a much better developer than the first time around, so not cautiously, also optimistic. I should say, like, I'm like even keel about that game. I am willing to be wooed by it, but as it stands, not crazy about it. Oh boy, we're already moving on, man. Page 2, Hyrule Warriors was at the Nintendo press conference. It's like, I love the Dynasty Warriors games, and it's like Dynasty Warriors with Zelda characters, which is really cool. They revealed a couple new characters you can play as. I'm sure there'll be even more. There's not a ton to say about that. If you know the Dynasty Warriors series, it's totally hack and slash, just dumb fun. With Zelda characters, seems neat. I don't know why that game exists, though, to be honest. It just seems like weird that it is a game, but it sounds fun. Just Dance 2015. It's a dancing game for Kinect. Kingdom Hearts 2.5 HD. This game I am excited about. PS3. Loved Kingdom Hearts. Liked Kingdom Hearts 2. The story of it got really weird at the end. But I played the Kingdom Hearts HD collection of the first game. Brilliant. So nostalgic. Kingdom Hearts 1 is one of my favorite games of all time, so being able to go back to that was really cool. So Kingdom Hearts 2 in HD I'm excited about, getting trophies, that kind of thing. So looking forward to that. Wish we would have seen something about Kingdom Hearts 3, but can't have everything you want. There's only so much time. Kirby and the Rainbow Curse. Wii U a game. New Kirby game. Sounds cool. I don't know how it works with the gamepad. Like, he makes, like, rainbow, like, platforms and combat and weird stuff like that. I don't know. It's a Kirby game where he, has the sucking in the things and floating and all that kind of stuff. Like, sounds neat. I want to see more about it. Like, I want to see the actual person using the gamepad and see what it's doing with the gamepad to make it cool. The Last of Us is being ported to PS4. Great. If you haven't played Last of Us and you own a PS4, you should pick it up. I've played it. I've played the DLC. One of my favorite games of the last generation. My favorite game of last year. But I don't have any interest in replaying it. That was like a one-time experience that I want. I don't want to go back and rehash that. So, cool that they're bringing it over. But me personally, like, there's no need for me. But brilliant game. Haven't played it. You need to. Zelda. New Zelda on Wii U. The trailer of it looks really cool. That's like a big open world, like Skyrim-esque kind of thing, where you can explore and go to dungeons out of order and that kind of thing. It looks beautiful. Cel-shaded-ish kind of thing, but like really high-definition graphics as well. I wish we would have seen more. It has to be super far off still, but I wish we would have seen more combat, because it kind of just transitions to like a cutscene where he's fighting a little spider mech thing with his arrows. So, I don't know. It looks great. Twilight Princess looked great, and I don't really like it. Skyward Sword looked great, and I was kind of like, it's okay. So the last few Zelda games haven't blown me away. This one looks better to me than those other two did, so I have high hopes. We'll see. I'm excited for it, but we'll see. And then Lego Batman 3, they revealed a little bit before E3 and had some gameplay of it on the show floor, maybe. It's cool. It's in space. The Lego games are great. They're always pretty solid. There are so many of them. I never am able to play all of them. I usually will play like the demo. Like I played the Lego Marvel Superheroes demo and was like, yeah, neat, but I don't need to play the whole thing. I haven't played a full Lego game since like the Star Wars ones. But looks cool. A ton of new characters. It's weird that they call him Lego Batman because it has like all the DC characters in it. So that just seems odd that they're focusing on Batman, but I guess Batman's the most popular character, so got to market it the way you can. Let It Die is Suda51's new game coming exclusively to the PlayStation 4. It was a weird trailer. It was like live action kind of thing with like gameplay mechanics, and like you saw people's gamer tags and like their health and stuff. Really dark, really violent, like kind of upsetting trailer. I'm curious to see. We haven't seen any gameplay, obviously, of it. That's probably like a 2016 game, but neat that it's coming to PS4 exclusively. That's a pretty cool exclusive for them to get. Little Big Planet 3, they demoed at the Sony press conference, and it was kind of a rough demo. They had some technical difficulties with the, gameplay of it. Looks adorable. New characters look fun and cute. The gameplay, the actual platforming of the Little Big Planet games hasn't always been very good. I played both of the other ones, 1 and 2, and liked them. I never got really into making my own maps and trying out other people's maps. The fact that you can play any Little Big Planet 1 or 2 map through Little Big Planet 3 is a neat thing, but to me that's kind of like a needless sequel. Media Molecule has come out and said they're not working on a new Little Big Planet. They have their own game. So whoever is making this, it's not Media Molecule. So they didn't announce that, which seems weird. So I'm curious to see what that is, who's working on that game. Lords of the Fallen, in my predictions video, I was kind of down on the game just because it hasn't done anything to me to make it stand out. It's Dark Souls-esque, like in a really intense, hard combat. You're going to die a ton. Every enemy seems like a boss. The gameplay they showed only heightened that to me. It didn't do anything to make it stand out more. It just seems like a Dark Souls ripoff, frankly. It looks beautiful. The graphics are great, but like tight corridors, there's not a bunch of place to move, and just like when you swing, you hit a wall, and like that, it just seems frustrating to me, man. And watching the gameplay, like the guy was dying all over the place. That kind of game just doesn't really appeal to me personally. If it's a weird, like if it's like a hard kind of puzzly game or platformer where I'm dying a lot, fine. But if I'm dying because of the combat, because the combat doesn't seem fair, that's just frustrating. That's not fun. So I'm very lukewarm on Lords of the Fallen, but I'm sure a lot of people will love it if they like those styles of games. Mario Maker, one of the coolest new reveals at the show, at the Nintendo show. You make your own Mario maps, and you can share them with your friends and play them that way. This just sounds like an awesome idea for a game, so I'm really pumped about that to see what kind of stuff people can come up with. They showed off Mario Party 10, which seems like more Mario Party. I'm sure it'll be a lot of fun and frustrating and will end a lot of friendships. BioWare talked about Mass Effect 4 a little bit. We got a little bit of like dev diary stuff and some concept art and some tech demo things, but we didn't see any actual gameplay or even like a story trailer or even like who you're playing as, because they've said you're not playing as Shepard in this one. I'm super pumped for it. One of my most anticipated games. I wish we would have been able to see something. I'm glad we at least got this, and we know that it is real and it is happening, even though they've basically had already confirmed it before then, but I wish we wouldn't have gotten to see more. Even if it was just a little bit of a story trailer, or like the main character reveal, or like, oh, Garrus is going to be in it, or something like that. I wish we would have gotten a little bit more of something. Metal Gear Solid Phantom Pain. I'm not a huge Metal Gear guy. I played Metal Gear 1 and 2. Didn't play 3, but like I watched a buddy of mine play it. Didn't play 4, but I watched a buddy of mine play it. Didn't play the Ground Zeroes. It got a lot of negative feedback because it was so short and expensive. I don't know what it is, but Metal Gear has never clicked with me. It's so Japanese, and it's so complicated from a lore, like story perspective. It's not new user friendly, and from what I've seen at this, it doesn't look like it's going to be new user friendly at all. The trailer that they showed at the Sony press conference was completely nonsensical. I had no idea what was going on the entire time. And even from people that love the series and know the characters, we're still like, what is going on in this right now? Like, I don't know. I'm not a huge Metal Gear guy, but despite this trailer, like it's going to look great. And the fact that it's like a big open world kind of thing is really cool, different thing for Metal Gear to do. The story is just way over my head, and I don't have the impetus to try to get to know it. So, whatever on Metal Gear for me. Metro 2033 and Metro Last Light are coming to PS4. Up-res graphics, that kind of thing. That's really cool. I love both of those games. That's just a cool thing. I'm glad that they're bringing those games over. Not enough people played those games. They're very story-focused, first-person shooters, like really dark, atmospheric, and really unique. Because it's post-apocalypse, which tons of games do, but it's in an interesting way, and it's got a great story. And also there are boobs in Last Light. So, yeah, you get a lap dance. Lord of the Rings Shadow of Mordor. When they first revealed this, it got a lot of backlash because people were like, well, it just looked like Assassin's Creed with Lord of the Rings. And I was kind of like, okay. Like, if it's Assassin's Creed kind of traversal and stuff, set in Lord of the Rings universe, I'm a huge Lord of the Rings fan, so that sounds awesome to me. But what I've seen from it has left me feeling pretty underwhelmed. The setup that, like, the villain, or it's, like, Nemesis system, I think is what they call it, where, like, you fight a guy and beat him but not kill him, and so he'll go, like, train to get stronger to come after you. Or if you're fighting a guy and you die, like, he levels up, so he's going to be even harder the next time you fight him. That's awesome, and I don't think I've ever seen a game really do that kind of thing. But, and the story of it sounds cool, too, where you're kind of, like, trying to recruit people, and you're, like, a dead guy who has the ring wraith power kind of thing. I don't know, it's kind of complicated, but that stuff sounds cool. But what I've seen in the combat and moving around, it looks a little rough. Like, it looks very unfinished. And the game is unfinished, so I'll give it the benefit of the doubt. I'm very curious, but the more I learn about the game, honestly, the less interested I get. I'm still very interested, don't get me wrong, but I'm afraid if they keep showing me more stuff by the time it comes out, I'm not going to want to get it. Mirror's Edge 2, we got a lot of tech demo stuff, a little behind-the-scenes things. I want that game. I shouldn't say I would have rather seen nothing, but we didn't get anything new about it. They told us that they're working on the gunplay, the actual shooting mechanics, which is awesome. That was my biggest complaint from the first game, so good on them for working on that. I want Mirror's Edge 2. I wish we would have gotten to see more, like, actual gameplay. Mortal Kombat X looks super violent. Looks like a great Mortal Kombat game. I'm not good at fighting games, but I know people that are into fighting games, and they love the Mortal Kombat stuff. The trailer was really cool. I liked seeing the bones breaking, all that kind of thing. So, great trailer with a little bit of gameplay in there. That kind of game is not for me, but it looks really solid. No Man's Sky, on the other hand, is a game for me. That's definitely one of my biggest games I was looking forward to about the show. I honestly didn't think we would see it. I said in my predictions I didn't think we'd see more No Man's Sky. I thought it was too far off, that they wouldn't have enough to show from the initial reveal trailer. Boy, was I wrong. They showed a ton of stuff. Like gameplay, trailers, all that kind of thing. The interviews talking about what the game is, what you do in it. It's like a sci-fi Minecraft. And that's totally up my alley, man. Like, I love Minecraft. I love science fiction-y kind of stuff. Like, it's not even just an open world. It's an open universe. Procedurally generated, so everywhere you go is going to be someplace new, discovering new creatures and planets and ores, and there's mining and combat and space combat. It's just, like, the scope of that game is mind-boggling. Has the potential to be the biggest game of all time in terms of, like, the sheer scope of it. And it's, you know, emergent multiplayer and all that. It's everything about it sounds awesome. Almost too much so. Like, there's no way the game can be what they're saying it's going to be. So, I'm super pumped for it. I've seen enough about it to know that I'm going to love it. I'm going to dig it. But I am still feeling like I'm trying to be reserved on that game just because I don't want to end up being disappointed, you know? I want to go in with the least amount of expectations possible so that I enjoy it more. Because if I go in expecting this huge, amazing thing, and if it doesn't meet that, I'm not going to like it. And I don't want to ruin a game like that. It's kind of how I am with Destiny. Like, what they showed was so huge that I was like, there's no way it can be this. So I'm just going to assume it isn't going to be this, and hopefully I'll be pleasantly surprised. And so far I kind of have been, so hopefully No Man's Sky is like that too. The Order 1886, we've been getting bits and pieces of it, showing more and more, and we got a more extended gameplay demo showing more of the, like the monster werewolf enemies in it. I'm still not sold on that game, honestly. And that's like the big Sony exclusive that's coming, and that kind of scares me as a PS4 owner. It looks gorgeous. I like the gun that they've been showing off. It looks really cool. It's like a rivet gun that shoots thermite, and then the secondary fire is like a flare that lights the thermite and kills enemies that way. And that's awesome. Like, that's really cool, and the fire effects look great. But it look like they've shown too much cutscene. Like, it's not just interactive cutscenes, but like the gameplay transitions directly into cutscene, which transitions directly back into gameplay, which is great and seamless, but there's too much where I'm not playing it. From what I've seen. I may be wrong, maybe that's just what they're showing, and there is more actual gameplay mechanics to it, but I don't know. I really, really, really want to be excited for it, and I still am. Like, I'm still going to buy it, but I don't know. I'm just a little nervous that it's going to be too much cutscene and not enough gameplay. Phantom Dust, they revealed at the Microsoft one. I don't know if that's a AAA game or more of an indie game. It's like the trailer they showed made it look like some kind of fighting game with magic and crazy apocalypse powers, but it's a remake of the game Phantom Dust that was a card-based like strategy game. So unless they're totally changing what that game is, that trailer was not representative of what the final product is going to be. So curious to see more about that. Nintendo showed off more of Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire, which is cool. Love Pokemon. New evolutions and stuff like that is cool. It's more Pokemon. I love Ruby and Sapphire, so I'm excited to get more of that. Project Spark is a really awesome idea, making maps and like you kind of like make your own game. It's a really cool thing. I still haven't seen enough of it to make me go like, yep, this is going to be great. It's all been very set up, which obviously it is. Like, I want to see what real people are making with it. And I guess it's in beta, so I don't know. Maybe I just need to look some more stuff up on that and hopefully learn a little bit more and get more excited. Ubisoft ended their press conference with Rainbow Six Siege, which is like a co-op multiplayer game, first-person shooter. It was a really solid demo. It looks good. It's a cool setup for it. I don't know what it was, but something about it didn't blow me away. 2 years ago when they revealed Watch Dogs, I was like, holy crap, this is amazing. Last year when they revealed Division, I was like, holy crap, this is amazing. After revealing Rainbow Six, I was like, holy crap, that looks pretty good, but I'm not really interested in it for whatever reason. So it wasn't the same reaction that I've had in the past. As we get farther along, we see more and more gameplay of it. Hopefully I'll get more pumped for it, but there are so many first-person shooters on the market, and already so many first-person shooters that I'm excited for, that this one, it's doing something different, which I do like, but I was kind of like, I just felt, I was like, yeah, it looks good. But I wasn't like, oh man, like I, wanted to be. They revealed Rise of the Tomb Raider, Tomb Raider 2, which Rise of the Tomb Raider is a really dumb name, but I get why they didn't want to just call it Tomb Raider 2. I'm totally sold. I loved the first game. Jumped the shark in the story a little bit at the end, but the gameplay was really great. Looked awesome. This game, I'm sure, will be even better. It's on next-gen consoles. Hopefully, they focus more on the actual tomb raiding, since that's the name of the game. But I'm really pumped. Loved the first game. I'm sure I'll love the next one. Hopefully, we get to see actual gameplay sometime soon. Ubisoft showed off Shape Up, which is their exercise Connect game for gamers, because we want to exercise while playing video games. No, we don't. But whatever. What else? Star Wars Battlefront. One of my most anticipated games. We got a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff with Frostbite 3, talking to the devs, showing off a little bit of character art, that kind of thing. I wish we would have been able to see something more substantial. But that game's probably coming out next fall, fall 2015, to release with the movie. I already know I'm going to get it. So even this little bit of stuff that we got was cool. I'm glad we did get it. I'm really pumped for that. Scalebound was revealed. It's by the people that made Vanquish, which was a really cool, like, third-person shooter kind of weird kind of like game. It looks neat. It's like a bunch of big, huge enemies, like Monster Hunter kind of enemies. I don't know. It's hard to tell just from that brief teaser trailer, but it looks really cool. Like, we don't know what kind of combat it has, if it is a Monster Hunter type game with a bunch of big monsters or what, but it was a really, really cool trailer. I'll give them that. Sunset Overdrive, one of my favorite games from the show, absolutely, at the Microsoft conference. Xbox One exclusive, which bums me out as a Sony gamer, but looks like just so much fun, man. So much fun. Bright colors and explosions, tons of cool gadgets and guns, and he's grinding and jumping, and just frenetic action, which is great. It's got a great sense of humor. I wish that I had an Xbox so I could play that game, honestly. Absolutely one of my best games of the show. And then they did a Smash Brothers tournament, had that on the show floor. Looks like a great, solid Smash game. It's not really doing a ton of new stuff, but honestly, Smash comes out once a generation. They don't really need to do a ton of new stuff. Cool new characters. Mega Man's in it. Pac-Man. They have the Wii Fit trainer. Like Zero Suit Samus. Like a lot of cool characters. The Villager from Animal Crossing. So that looks fun. I watched like the whole hour-and-a-half long Smash Brothers tourney. It was really cool to be able to see a lot of the different characters interacting. So I'm sure that'll be a really good time. Tales from the Borderlands, Telltale talked a little bit about that. It's Borderlands game, obviously. What was I going to say about it? Borderlands game in the style of the Walking Dead games that they've done, where it's like story-based. They said there is going to be shooting in it. So hopefully it's better than what the shooting was in Walking Dead, because the shooting in Walking Dead was fucking terrible. So hopefully it's better than that. I'm sold. Like, I love the Borderlands universe and the characters, and if they approach it having the same sense of humor as the original Borderlands games do, it's going to be really cool. And they're doing a cool thing where it's like your two main protagonists who are telling the same story from different perspectives, and they're both liars. So like you never know what's the truth and which one is right and wrong, and that's a fun setup for a story kind of adventure game. The Division was showed off again at the Microsoft conference and the Ubisoft conference. Looks like a really great third-person shooter. Big, like, open-world kind of thing. Lots of social features integrated, co-op. They did some story-based stuff, which was kind of... I don't know. Didn't even tell me anything about the story for it being a story trailer. But the shooting mechanics look great. It's a gorgeous game. Lots of gadgets and unique kind of powers that each... or unique kind of... use your gadget stuff that each player will have. So that just sounds like a really fun game to play with friends and explore and shoot guys and get loot and all that kind of thing. Uncharted 4. They revealed, well, re-revealed at the Sony conference at the end and revealed the name. So Uncharted 4, A Thief's End. They're saying that it's going to be the last Uncharted game, which I'm fine with. Be a good way to go out in the series, and even from the character standpoint, they're like, it's their last hurrah, getting the band back together for one last adventure. Like, that sounds really great. Next gen graphics, like the trailer looks gorgeous. It's probably, I mean, it might be in game, who knows? But we don't really know anything else about the game. But I loved all three other games and loved The Last of Us. Like, Naughty Dog is one of the best developers in the industry. I have no doubts Uncharted 4 will be great. Witcher 3, we saw. That game, like, I wish that I could be into because it looks awesome, but I've never played the other two games, so I feel like I'm not going to understand what's going on in the story. And in the trailers that I've seen, like, I know Geralt, the main character. I know enough about that, and, like, Triss was, like, the chick or whatever, but, like, that's it. That's all I know. So it's a lot of the story stuff just goes over my head, and I feel like I'm missing out because the Griffin Hunt mission that they showed was really cool. The game looks beautiful. It's got like a cool combat style. It's a really hard game, really deep mechanics, like in crafting and leveling up and magic and all that kind of stuff. So I'm interested in it. I just feel like that not having played the other two games, I can't justify picking it up because I feel like I'm not going to get it. Xenoblade Chronicles, Nintendo talked about. It's a new game in the Xenoblade series, the X series, I guess. Lots of like mechs, and it's very Japanese RPG. Looks neat. I wish that I would have been able to play the Xenoblade game that was on Wii, because it was, I guess, one of the best games on Wii, but I'd already traded my Wii in at that point because no games were coming out for it anymore. There aren't enough Japanese RPGs coming out anymore, so that looks like a really good one. And then last game, alphabetically, was Yoshi's Woolly World at the Nintendo conference, and that's a cool thing that they. I loved Kirby's Epic Yarn, beautiful art style, like cute. It was really easy game. This one looks more in depth. It has co-op in it. You can play with at least one other person. It just looks really fun. Beautiful art style, and the up-res HD Wii U graphics is a good thing too. It just looks like a fun time. I'd be definitely excited about that if I was a Wii U owner. So that's all the games that I had. I'm sure I missed some. Let me know in the comments what games you're excited most about, if I missed anything. Yeah, I guess that's kind of it. Well, I guess I should say my game of show, because I haven't talked about the indie games, obviously, but my big AAA... Well, AAA is a relative term. Games. Biggest one I'm looking forward to that we saw substantial stuff on is No Man's Sky. Absolutely my most anticipated game from the conference that we saw actual gameplay from. Followed by Mario Maker. Looks really awesome. Far Cry 4 looks amazing. Can't wait to play that. Sunset Overdrive. I'm so bummed that I'm not going to be able to play it because I don't have an Xbox. Guess those are my biggest big games that I want to play. So yeah, let me know what were your big games you liked most of the show. What are you looking forward to most? I'll have a separate video on indie games specifically. So if I didn't mention it talked about Below and Roundabout, Witness, all those kinds of games. I have a bunch. I'm gonna have a big list of indie games to talk about in another video. So just because I didn't mention any of those kind of games, don't be like, well, you forgot about this game, because I didn't. Don't worry. Yeah, thanks for watching, guys. I'm surprised I got through this in 45 minutes. I was anticipating this being an hour-plus video. Hopefully I didn't rush through stuff too much. Hopefully you got some information about games you didn't know enough about. And thanks for watching. We'll see you in the indie game video. Hope you guys liked E3. I know I loved it. Love video games. See you guys in the next one.